more sitting outside until enough people are under so they come in here. Let the record show it's 6 o'clock. Call a meeting to order. We have a roll call, please. Jim Whitaker.
Here.
Linda Barnhart. Present. Eric Gogg.
Here.
Buchanan Norton. Here. Tim Lewis.
Present.
Dan Gant.
Here.
Nick Deal. And Derek Smith.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum present. We'll ask for the approval of the agenda.
There's no modification or changes.
Okay, have a motion by Mr. Goff and second by Mr. Whitaker to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passed. Next, we have our open governmental process, sunshine law. Do we have anyone signed in to speak? No one this evening. Okay, let the record show that there's none. Approval of the meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Second. Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to approve the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's no opposed. Motion passed. All right, we'll begin our public hearings with Shepherd's Cove, Section 1.
Request for final plat approval. The project is Shepherd's Cove, Section 1, file 2010-63. The developer is Shepherd's Cove Development Incorporated. The engineer is DeMagno Consulting Incorporated. Opequon District, map 9, part of 3. The property is located on West Virginia County Route 3 at the intersection of West Virginia County Route 5/6. This phase proposes 5 single-family lots to be served by individual wells and central sewer system. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends final plat approval. Plat to be released upon receipt of declaration of covenants and restrictions. There was no surety needed for this project.
Thank you. Do you have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, this is Jim Hustle, I represent.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. It's your opportunity to make your comments. If you have them, please come forward, state your name and any comments you might have regarding the project.
There are some phone numbers visible on the online Zoom, and I have allowed all of them to speak if they have signed in for this project.
Can they hear you? Public hearing is open for Shepherd's Cove, Section 1.
If there's no public comment, I move public hearing be closed.
Let the record show that
Second.
there is no one speaking regarding Shepherd's Cove. Motion by Mr. Whitaker, second by Mr. Goff to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Hutzel or of the staff?
I'm looking at a plat that is 17 lots on it, 18. Is this,
That's for the total project.
so this is just the first 5?
Now, this is section 1.
Okay. It's hard for me to read, so small, but
Right, many of the lots are light gray, just for reference.
mine all look white on
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
They're all white. I can't tell. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure Wasn't something wrong in the wording?
No, it's basically the bottom stretch
Okay, long enough, right there?
along the Swiss River Way.
Yeah, okay.
If I have no further comments, could I have a motion?
Make the motion, we accept staff recommendation, approve final plat upon receipt with the covenant restrictions.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Whitaker, to accept staff recommendation and to approve final plat upon release of surety, upon release of declaration of covenants and restrictions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is bunting.
Yes, it's a request for a waiver. The file is 2011-314. The developer is DNA Bunting. The surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying, Falling Waters District, map 7A, parcel 66. The property is located on the north side of West Virginia Secondary Route 1/12, Drake Lane, approximately 250 feet north of intersection with West Virginia Route 1/1 Nestle Quarry Road. This project proposes the subdivision of an existing 2.2 acre parcel into one 1.1 acre parcel, Lot A, and one 1.1 acre parcel, Lot B. Currently, the proposed utilities are unknown. The developer is requesting a waiver to the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009, Section 305.4.1, requiring a minimum lot size of 2 acres or more to proceed through the preliminary final process. Engineer reports A, that Drake Lane should be Drake Avenue, B, that a West Virginia DOH access permit is needed, C, that a will serve/approval from BCPSD for the water house connections in Drake Avenue, D, the septic areas are not shown, and E, the final area of both Lot A and Lot B individually are less than 2 acre minimum requirement for Section 305.4.1. Therefore, the engineer recommends denial of the waiver. Based upon the number of items still needed, planning staff concurs with the county engineer. Staff recommends denial of the waiver and that the applicant proceed through the sketch plan process.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Good evening, Mike Roberts.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Again, it's your opportunity to make your comments known. Ask that you come forward and state your name, address, and the comments you may have regarding the project.
Move public hearing be closed.
Let the record show that.
Second.
Let the record show there's no comments from the public. Have a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Lewis, to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Roberts or of staff?
What's the requirements for the wells and the public water?
This project will have public water and individual septic. It's 40,000 square feet,
3,000 square feet an acre.
43,000.
40, I know it's 3, so 40 is off from 3. So you're gonna meet that requirement for the septic?
This application would meet the requirements for as the staff indicated, a major subdivision. Since it's just a 2-lot subdivision, we would request a waiver at this point in time, pursuing a major subdivision route for this 2 lots.
And it was 8.5 for well and septic. Sure about the water.
It's 60,000 square feet for well and septic, 40 for public water and septic.
Planning Commission members that are in on Zoom, can you hear Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Don't
I guess that's a yes and a no. I can hear part of it, but not all of it.
Don't be bashful. What part do you need to hear again, Mr. Lewis.
He was answering the question about how many square feet was for the well and the septic area, and I couldn't hear what he was saying that requirement was.
Okay, the requirement, the state health department requirement and our subdivision requirement for a lot containing service by public water and individual septic system, 40,000 square feet. And we exceed that mark with this application. The requirement for a well and septic is 60,000 square feet, which we won't be processing that way because we do have public water in Great Avenue.
Did you hear that, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Thank you very much.
Sure. Any further questions? If there's no questions, can we have a motion?
On the, I do have a question on the report where the items that are still needed, Mike, they will be forthcoming if this waiver is
Yes,
approved.
Those are, in order to get a health department permit, have to run the perks and
Right.
seismic test, but that just hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
Because the applicant waited to see how this waiver request, how it was.
It's going to be
moved forward.
accepted. Okay.
Most of the items that are noted here are made by the county engineer, and I believe he might be present this evening. Do you want to come forward and discuss any of that?
Do you want to introduce them real quick?
Doug Smith, County Engineer for Berkeley County.
And this is Doug's first planning commission meeting with us. So welcome aboard.
You're already
I
getting
think,
points.
out of the comments there, I think really the one that was kind of the nail in the coffin was basically at the end of the day, the way the ordinance reads, if the individual subdivided lots are not larger than 2 acres, then they really need to go back through the sketch plan, preliminary plan, and final plan process. And that comes straight out of the ordinance.
Right.
The other items I don't see as anything major. Certainly it will serve a indication from BCPSD for the water can be obtained. The septic areas could be shown on the plat, that we have now that was submitted. I don't, I don't really see where there's anything other, but the biggest thing that we had issue with was item E, which was at the end of the day, you don't end up with a 2 acre gross field.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you about this, it's 2.2, you're right.
Excuse me.
No, I'm talking to myself.
And in this scenario, I believe the land is vacant, where in other waiver requests, there may have been existing homes already with their water and sewer. And in those cases, waivers were granted, but in this case, there's no home either lot.
Gotcha. So the lots could be a bit larger.
Or it could just remain.
No? You may want to hang up here with us. Not the most popular place to be, but don't be bashful.
It's all right, I was there, but I'm used to being surrounded.
Okay.
The one thing that you could do is, I believe the residual, once this is done, the residual of the parent property that it came from is actually 2 acres. So you could actually, one lot could go away, you would lose 1 lot, however, you would meet the spirit of the intent of the ordinance that you could go for a combined preliminary.
So the Andrew Albright to the left of Lot A and Lot B on the drawing is actually the residue parcel, where it says 7A parcel 66.
Correct.
That's the residue.
And I believe they have 2 acres in that electrical system, correct?
That is correct, but the property that we're dealing with is a standalone parcel.
This is?
Yes.
Okay, it didn't show up that way on the tax bill.
Well, the reason it's recorded is because they didn't ever transfer it, or has to be picked up by the tax department.
So it is a standalone 2.2 acre lot.
Yes, it's a legal lot and recorded.
I understand your intentions. It's a lot of process to go through just to create 2 little lots. Anybody else wants to make a motion on this?
Ready for my,
Make a motion, we, grant the waiver, providing the, applicant gives us the DOH permit needed, the PEC, PSD, water house connection to Drake Avenue, letter from the water department for that, approved well and septic area for both lots,
Not well, just septic.
or I'm sorry, approved septic area for both lots. And all that's submitted before they submit for the preliminary final.
Second.
motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Ms. Norton to approve and grant the waiver for, project provided items A, B, C, D, and E are met. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Hazlet.
Yes, that item is a request for waiver. The project is Hazlet, file 2011-339. The developer is Justin Hazlet. The surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying, Mill Creek District, map 11, parcel 8.20. The property is located on the east side of West Virginia Secondary Route 903 over 49, Gunpowder Lane, approximately 800 feet north of intersection with West Virginia Secondary Route 903 over 47, Lamplight Road. This project proposes the subdivision of an existing 5.19 acre parcel into one 2.04 acre parcel, Lot 5A, one 1.5 acre parcel, Lot 5B, and one 1.6 acre parcel, Lot 5C, to be served by private well and septic. The developer is requesting a waiver to the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009, Section 305.4.1, requiring a minimum lot size of 2 acres or more to proceed through the preliminary final process. Engineers report a West Virginia DOH access permit is needed. A will serve approval from BCPSD for the sewer house connections is needed. Direct access to the public sewer is not available for Lot 5B and 5C without encroaching wetlands. The final area of Lot 5A, Lot 5B, and Lot 5C individually are less than the 2 acre minimum requirement for Section 305.4.1. Therefore, the county engineer recommends denial of the waiver. The need for this waiver is self-imposed, and the proposed lots have potential issues, including a stream that traverses 2 of the 3 proposed lots and the need for 3 side-by-side West Virginia DOH entrance permits. Item C in the engineering report would also require an additional waiver request for required improvements. Planning staff concurs with engineering staff. Staff recommends denial of the requested waiver and that applicant proceed through the sketch plan process.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, Mike Roberts, representing the project.
Okay, again, this is a public hearing. It's your opportunity. Please come forward, state your name and any comments you may have regarding the project.
I have 3 written comments that were submitted to us, so I'm going to read those first, and then if any of those representing these letters have logged in, then they can add anything they'd like to add afterward.
Thank you.
The first letter is from Mary Ellen Renninger York, from 377 Daring Hill Lane in Inwood. She states, in regard to the Hazlet request for waiver for their property in the Pine Ridge community of Inwood, I would like to register my strong opposition, since according to the covenants attached to their property, their lot is not allowed to be subdivided at all, let alone into 3 parcels. Unfortunately, I'm out of town and not able to attend the hearing in person, so I'm submitting my comments in writing. The covenants restricting the properties in our development do not allow for things like clear cutting the land, mobile homes, keeping pigs, discharge of firearms, etc. These restrictions have been in place since the 1970s. Many of these are reasons why people have purchased here to preserve the natural beauty, peace and quiet, and quality of our development. Increasing the number of lots will harm the quality of our neighborhood and our lives here. Subdividing lots not permitted by the original planning of the development creates hazards for all of us living here. The roads are literally falling off in spots, and although there is 100-foot wide allotment for the roads, the actual cleared roads are significantly narrower. The roads are hilly, windy, frequently potholed, and graveling only helps briefly. Even if the roads were leveled and paved, if they are not significantly widened, they would still pose a hazard with increased traffic from proposed additional new lots. Since we are all on well water, there's also potential that the water tables cannot support additional lots. Then we would all suffer greatly and our property would become significantly devalued. When I purchased my property in March of 2003, the roads were already turned over to the state and the sewer lines had already been installed. One of the selling features that set apart the property I purchased was that it was the only remaining lot in the development that was allowed to be subdivided. All other lots that were subdividable according to the deed restrictions had already been divided. Allowing subdivision of properties in violation of the covenants diminishes my property value and would likely have a serious adverse financial impact on me directly. Prior to my purchase, a previous owner of my lot had put a double-wide mobile home on the lot. This family was forced to remove it since it was a violation of the covenants. They subsequently sold the property. I would hate to believe that the county enforcing the covenants only happens against people with obvious Hispanic last names. Lastly, I'm concerned that the county didn't inform the Hazlets of their deed restrictions and covenants governing that lot, which do not allow any subdivision of their property. Informing the Hazlets would have saved them, the county, and us from having to go through this process. Nobody likes to have to upset their neighbors. Sincerely, Marilyn Renninger.
I'd like to comment about that. I'm sure the county that enforced that mobile home would be pushed off because we don't enforce covenant restrictions. That was probably done by somebody in the homeowner association that hired an attorney. Regardless, I'm just going to do it.
You have another one?
Yes. This is from Mark A. Lemieux. Dear Ms. Williams, I am writing in opposition to Hazlet preliminary final waiver request. Section 305.41 clearly states that no lot is to be subdivided into lots less than 2 acres. Currently, the lots along Gunpowder Lane are substantially larger than 2 acres. Lot sizes of less than 2 acres would substantially alter the nature of this neighborhood and negatively impact the property value of the current residents. Additionally, Lamplight Road and Gunpowder Lane are gravel roads. The increased traffic resulting from smaller lots will degrade these already poorly maintained roadways. Increased traffic volume will also result in an increase in the dust thrown into the air every time a vehicle passes by negatively impacting the respiratory health of current residents. Lot size requirements in this development are clearly stated and known to anyone who has purchased property here. The requirement for large lot sizes and the resulting restriction on housing density is one factor which led me to purchase the home I own on Gunpowder Lane. To alter those requirements seems highly unfair to me. It will alter the nature of my community, impact the value of my property, and affect my health and the health of those around me. I urge you to reject this waiver. Sincerely, Mark Lemieux, 221 Gunpowder Lane, and Inwood.
Thank you.
And then one more. This is from Adam Letts, 337 Gunpowder Lane in Inwood. I sent an email to Sarah, and it included Mr. Lemieux's letter. So he's referring to that. He said, the following comments are from my neighbor who also lives on Gunpowder Lane. He has summarized my feelings on this matter perfectly, and I feel no need to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. If you could please include my name to his comments, I would appreciate it. And that's Adam Letts.
Thank you. Is there anyone that's signed in for Zoom that wishes to speak regarding this project?
Move public hearing be closed.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, planning commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Roberts or of the staff?
This is gonna be certified public sewage.
Yes.
Private well and septic is what it says in the staff report.
The staff report,
It's the same, it's hard to like, what's he gonna have now?
private wells, public sewer.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
And, just, that I will pull a copy of the deed for this lot. They are allowed to do subdivision of this lot in their deed. They're different lots in that subdivision. This lot does allow for something.
And are there separate covenants as well?
It's just,
Many of these refer to covenants
when
rather than deeds.
I had to actually, when the lot was originally sold, like 1974, but there are covenants with that, it does allow subdivision of this lot.
You didn't think you needed to bring those in earlier?
Yeah.
Planning commission members, we need a motion.
Is this the one staff report was sent out on by email today about the flood plain or something?
No.
That's not it.
There were two floodplain maps that there was I have a color copy of it here. There is the stream that goes right through the lot, and there's a floodplain that's mapped downstream, and it ends abruptly because that's where the study ended. So
That's on
that
the
was
one
one of,
project.
yes.
Okay, I was just,
So I have a larger one here if you'd like to look at it.
don't know which project it was for, and then,
One was for this one, the other was for org.
okay.
Waiting for a motion.
What would be the additional waiver that's gonna be needed?
I'm reading here.
The direct access to public sewer requires an improvement, and in the requirements to go through the preliminary and final process, it has 3 criteria. Tonight, they're asking for a waiver to the 2-acre requirement. but there's also,
Those are lateral connections, not main line extensions.
There's a lateral stub down to that lot, because it needs to be split on the other two.
There's a main that goes through the property, but we were timing that with 4-inch laterals, not a main line. What would be construction would be a lateral connection, not a
Mainline extension.
yeah.
and that would be a conversation you'd have to have with county engineering to determine if that's really an improvement or not.
You know which side the sewer line's on already?
Pardon?
You know which side the sewer line's on?
The sewer on Main crosses the road. It basically parallels the stream. We would not have to cross the stream with the lateral connection
Or the road.
or the road.
Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Dan said, that we do not enforce deed restrictions on this county, so. We don't have zoning rights to do that. So.
Did anyone speak to Ms. George?
I don't know if she called, she faxed the letter and then it came through in an email as well.
Okay, but no one spoke to her to tell her that we didn't enforce the
Not
deed
yet,
of
no. I think we have the ability to contact one of the neighbors and reach back out to her if we need to.
Oh, we're still waiting on the motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the waiver recommendation, or the waiver request, as long as the items A, B, C, and D are met before the commencement, is that right? For the final, yes. Or the apply for the final. That's my motion.
I have a motion of Mr. Whitaker to approve the waiver pending the submission of the items needed in the staff report.
I'll second.
Motion from Mr. Whitaker, second by Mr. Gant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
You got it. Next item on the agenda for public hearing is OR preliminary final plat.
I have requests for waiver. It is an amended, staff report. There was an incorrect reference to the district map and parcel. What you're holding in your hand should be the corrected, report with the district map and parcel. It is correct on the letter of justification. It was incorrect on the initial staff report. I have a request for waiver, project or preliminary final. The file number is 2011-344, tied to 2010-266. The developer is George Orr and Sons Incorporated. The surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's Arden District, map 4, parcel 11. The property is located on the east side of West Virginia Route 30, Arden-Noville Road, approximately 2,000 feet north of intersection with West Virginia Secondary Route 30/2, Tinsman Lane. This project proposes the subdivision of an existing 162.7 acre parcel into one 14.6 acre parcel, which is parcel A, and 148.1 acre residue to be served by private well and septic. The developer is requesting a waiver to the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009, Section 305.4.1, requiring direct access onto a West Virginia DOH maintained road in order to proceed through the preliminary final process. The engineer reports parcel A does not have direct access or road frontage. Access will be afforded through an adjoining parcel by a 30-foot wide access easement from a 50-foot wide future right-of-way for Evans Run subdivision. A West Virginia DOH access permit is needed. Wetlands area should be shown, and a 100-year floodplain should be shown. The county engineer recommends denial of the waiver. This location is upstream from the Evans Run subdivision and Sharon's Lane area. While a 100-year floodplain is not currently met, it is because the Evans Run study are ended at a location downstream from this parcel. Planning staff concurs with engineering. Staff recommends denial of the waiver and that the applicant proceed through the sketch plan process.
Public hearing for preliminary final plat. If you have questions or comments, please come forward. Give us your name and your comment, please.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir. Please identify yourself.
Craig Dougal, D-O-U-G-A-L-F. I was at the hearing that approved the subdivision, and Evans Run is a flood zone. And if you approve these lots, I agree with the engineers, you will be, again, forcing more water towards my house. I have flooded 2 times now. I do not want a third. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak regarding the project?
Anybody else will make a motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Whitaker to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
Was that approved or not approved?
It hasn't had a vote yet. We just closed the public hearing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Kind of hard to understand and whenever you're just not in front of us. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the staff or of Mr. Roberts?
We don't have any map or anything.
Here. This is the flood map that I sent out to
Well, I mean, I
you.
have that one. We don't have, I don't know where the 14 acres is in reference to this. Is this the complete parcel?
That's the whole parcel. That's what I sent out
Where's the
today.
14 acres? They're cutting off here or here?
I don't have that
14
drawing.
acres that is on the southeast side of Evans Run. Basically, we're using it, the run as a, generally, the boundary is something off 14 acres. I've submitted a full-size drawing with the application.
Have you done any floodplain survey on it yourself?
No.
So if we do subdivide it, then we have to do a floodplain survey on it to get a building permit. And it's in the floodplain, it might be a lot to it.
Now, this parcel is significantly above the floodplain, probably 60 to 70 foot high. I think whereas it runs along Evans Run to the east, and then southeast.
What about what the person who calls in here, Mr. Duke, what about, he says he's been flooded before. Does that reflect any water going in his direction?
This application proposed one single-family residence on property 17 acres. It's in the woods, it's runoff coefficient.
Man, can I speak again?
Public hearing's closed.
Yes, please. Make it quick.
I'm on 28 Sharon's Lane, and as y'all spoke, the water runs to Sharon's Lane into Evans Run. The more you do upstream construction, those contributors and water run directly to my house. And I don't care what you say, what you do, I am in a floodplain. How my house got approved through the county, I do not know. But any more construction upstream, coming downstream, is not gonna work. No.
Anybody else want to see this?
Is that the corner of it?
That's the run, that's the 17 acres they're subdividing. This is the road coming in that'll access it.
And you're saying, Robert, that the property will absorb any water runoff?
Anecdotally, I'm saying yes. I'm not certified, just right now, we'll be in runoff, we have one lot, for one residence on 17 acres. But it's a wooded area, 17 acres, and we're building about maybe a 2,500 square foot house. Very, very minimal runoff in this application. This is not a major subdivision.
I mean, you could come in with 5 acre lots on the whole 140, whatever acres it is, if you want to go through the process.
Yeah, basically, this is a piece of the Orr property that, because of Evans Run, they cannot could do orchard work on the other side of the road.
Right.
This has always been a wood lot for them. You basically separate this out from the wood.
What I'm getting at, there's not anything stopping you from coming in with 5 acre lots, going through the whole process.
That is correct.
And putting in a 100 or 150 acres in there.
I think, Dan, the primary difference is that he's not asking to go through that process, he's asking to go through prelim final instead of doing all of the appropriate things that would occur with a sketch and agreement.
Okay, we're waiting for a motion.
It's my understanding that this application is so you don't have to go through the major subdivision application at this time to create one 14.6 acre parcel from 162 acres, correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Then I move approval of the waiver.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Norton, second by Mr. Gant to approve the waiver. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Um,
Opposed? Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
Find something better to do next time, huh? That's a nasty one here tonight. Okay, next item for public hearing is Butler's Crossing.
Madam Chairman, this is Tim Lewis. I'm going to excuse myself from this next topic for conflict of interest.
Thank you very much.
We have a request for a waiver. The project is Butler's Crossing Commercial. The file is 2011-345. The developer is Inwood Retail Venture, LLC. The engineer is Bowler. Mill Creek Tax District, map 6, parcel 55. The property is located at Winchester Road and Inwood Bypass. This project proposes a commercial project on 18.48 acres. The developer is requesting a waiver to the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009, Appendix A, requiring rights of way to have a width of 60 feet. The proposed development consists of approximately 44,500 square foot grocery store with strip retail and surrounding future out parcels to the east and south. Access to the site is from Route 11 to the west and the Inwood Bypass to the south, with a roadway looping the site to the north and east and an internal connector between the grocery retail and the future out parcels with a connection south to the bypass. County Engineer Dirk Stansberry stated, the proposed right-of-way reductions do not impair the placement or maintenance of the infrastructure. Engineering will not oppose the request, but we do not recommend them. Planning staff recommends denial of the waiver to Appendix A, which requires rights of way to have a width of 60 feet.
Okay, this is public hearing for Butler's Crossing Commercial. We have everybody signed in? No one in the audience wishes to speak regarding Butler's Crossing? We have representative?
Good evening. I'm Jonathan Ritchie with Bowler Engineering. I can help answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. There's no comments from the public. Can we close public hearing?
Move public hearing be closed.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Goff to close public hearing, second by Mr. Gann. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Ritchie or of the staff?
We're trying to figure exactly how much right of way is there. Like 50 feet?
At a minimum, there's 50. And that is for the kind of, wish you had something
So you don't have to draw it.
kind of the loop road in between the out parcels and the supermarket. The stub road off the roundabout on the bypass, that's got, I think, 70 or 80 feet at a minimum. And then coming off Route 11, that is at minimum 60 feet, except for one small area that has 50 feet. So we're not far off from the ordinance. Correct.
And is there any utilities or anything that have to be stubbed in that right of way?
So that's part of our kind of request is that, typically in that 60 feet, it includes utilities to be for future development. So we're including the extension of the utilities, and that's part of it within the 50 feet too. So that will be taken care of.
Right. So we have water, sewer, and electric all coming in that entrance, or is it?
Yes. We don't know the electric where exactly that'll come in, but definitely water, sewer, and it's going to be stubbed out, so it will serve any future development to the east area if that happens.
That's hard without a map. Do you know how many lanes would be coming out? 2, 3 for the turning lane or something?
So to the bypass, there's 2 lanes to the roundabout, and then on Route 11, the main entrance will have technically 3. So there'll be a right in, and then a left out or a right out street. Yeah.
But out at that point where there will be 3 lanes, you have 60 feet.
Correct. Yeah, we have more than that.
All right. That's my question.
Ready for a motion?
Make the motion, we accept, or grant the waiver for the reduction in right of way.
Second that.
Second by Mr. Goff.
Tim accused himself.
Lewis, read.
Oh, that's right.
I've been second stuff all night. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not.
Oh,
that's
this is
Nick.
your deal. Okay.
You can have some of that.
I guess there's a delay. You wanna take the second on this then, Mr. Deal?
Chairman.
Motion, Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Deal to, grant the waiver to Appendix A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show there's one abstention by Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Motion passed. The next project is, Kent Parsons Ford.
It is a request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Parsons Ford, file 2011-301. The developer is Kent Parsons Ford. The engineer is Fox and Associates. It's Arden District, map 5, parcels 16, 16.1, 16.2, 17, and 18. The property is located on the south side of West Virginia Route 45, Apple Harvest Drive. This project proposes the development of a commercial automobile dealership on approximately 22.1 acres to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On November 19th, 2020, the county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, deemed the above-mentioned project complete and found it compliant with the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Do you have anyone to represent the project?
Good evening, Steve Sianovich, Fox and Associates, representing the applicant.
Thank you. Again, this is a public hearing. It's your opportunity to make your comments known. Please come forward. Let the record show that there's no comments.
Motion to close public
Move
hearing.
public hearing be closed.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Goff, to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, planning commission members, have questions for Mr. Stianovich or the staff?
Where's this located to the existing Ford parcel building?
No, this is out of, Commons,
Oh, I see Route 45.
Apple Harvest Drive.
Okay. So where is this at?
West of 81,
West of 81.
past the commons, past the.
Heading out towards Arden.
Okay.
It's across
So-
from Rick Catley, isn't it?
Yes.
It's across from
Well,
Rick
yeah, just before you get to Rick's on the left.
It's on the left.
Yeah.
Catley. Yeah.
Daniel, I'd also like to mention this is about a 22 acre parcel. The development zone proposed fraction.
So it's about half. Or about half.
Well, it's pretty close, pretty close.
Well,
There'll be a lot of
rocking.
vacant area.
There's some rock.
in there.
There's a lot.
A lot. There.
Yeah, do the most of them up the street.
Are they gonna, just level it off or then make a parking lot, or are they gonna put a, sales office out there?
On the project that we're proposing.
Yeah.
This will be a field automotive.
Okay.
They're moving.
So they're going to, abandon the one on 45?
I can't speak, Linda, to the disposition of the existing facility, at this time.
Take the food. Yeah, can you read that? I can't.
No, but I pieced it together.
A lot of
Probably be a
contours.
better location for it.
I'll get all of the,
Maybe one.
Mhm.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we, accept staff recommendation and approve the sketch plan.
Motion by Mr.
Advance the plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Smith to accept staff recommendation and advance the sketch plat to the preliminary plan stage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Project Nova.
A request for sketch plan advancement. The project is Project Nova. The file is 2011-321. The developer is Jefferson Business Park Associates. The engineer is Gordon. Opequon District, map 6, parcels 34.1, 34.4, and 37. The property is located northwest of US Route 11, Williamsport Pike, and south of Mid-Atlantic Parkway. This project proposes the development of a 204,982 square foot industrial warehouse with car maintenance stations and 77 acres of distribution lot and car storage to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On November 30th, 2020, the county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, deemed the above-mentioned project complete and found it compliant with the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Jason Gerhardt with Gordon.
Thank you. This is a public hearing for Project Nova. If you have questions or comments, please come forward and make those known at this time.
Move public hearing be closed.
Wait a minute, I have somebody making their way forward. Do you want to identify yourself?
Oh, the-
Okay. My name's Brian Cunningham. I'm one of the landowners that live in this, I think if you look at the plan, it'll be lot number 12. When I moved here to Berkeley County 30 years ago, this is where I started at. And I am all for the project for tax, revenue, jobs. I have not a problem with that. The only problem is we have stormwater issues now from Berkeley Plaza the whole way down to the Shaded Dove Bible Church. I've seen the field behind my house, farm equipment flood to the axles. I've seen that trucking terminal where you can barely even see the fire hydrant sticking out of the water. And that's one of my concerns, and the other is traffic. Number one is where they got the two, I guess you want to say off Route 11, right there where the parking lot area is, that is a hollow. That is strictly a safety issue there. Coming down either hill, possible could have an accident. I know that the traffic now, over the years, has increased tremendously. And I just want you to be aware of some of the problems we have already exist. I mean, the plat looks great, but if it doesn't work, who's going to be held responsible? We already got flooding. I did some research on retention ponds and detention ponds. I think it's great if they work. And I also read where they're supposed to be maintained. So who's in the county or the state goes after these things are built to make sure the maintenance is kept up so we do not have a problem down the road?
We have a county person that does that.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure because we have flooding right there comes across where they built the Eagle School Road. I think there's one there. There's one down here at the bathtub place. It's always full, and we're already overwhelmed with water now.
Part of the issue with that area down there is they built a third lane on the interstate, they dump the same amount, dump all the water off that interstate right into there. And the state buys credits in this farmland protection, and they use them up on interstate projects, stuff, don't put any additional stormwater management in, well, then it affects everything else around it, so. Storm bonds do work, but
How about the mosquitoes and the odor problem? I mean, you know, I'm, like I said, I'm not against the project. I just don't want to see us kick the can down the road. The taxpayers, I'm already paying a stormwater fee through my water and sewer bill. I'm serious, and I just haven't seen anything happen since I've been there. And I just want to make sure, because I see them put up high watered signs all the way from Berkeley Plaza clean down to that church down there when it rains. And I just want you to be aware. That's all. I'm not an engineer, but it may look good on paper, but who's held responsible if it doesn't work?
Maybe Mr. Gerhard can answer some of the water runoff issues.
You want to, is there other? Just want me to address
Oh,
that?
okay, I'm sorry, there's another gentleman in the back.
From Stotler, 1333 Greensport Pike, lot 13, which is the neighbor to Mr. Cunningham. I concur with basically the problem that he's talking about. The other problem which you talked about is with the stormwater and with the detention ponds. Now I've noticed there are the businesses on Midland Parkway that had retention ponds that were filled in. I think that's part of the problem why we've got all this water backup.
they're filled in,
Yes,
which business do that?
Heritage Roofing. That one on Midland Parkway, there's none there. There was one there on the road. They filled it in. All you've got now is
Is that
this
the one
one.
where you go past Al's Body Shop?
Yes.
That was,
Yeah.
white block building or something?
Right.
Well, that's actually how the stormwater pond that like wraps around it.
It had one in the front, they filled it in. They filled it in with shingles. I watched them do it, okay?
I mean, that's not funny, but.
No, I have a business across the road from Al's Body Shop, Midland Park.
Okay.
Mountain State Crew and all this area. The other problem you're having with this parking lot that you're putting in on the other side of the hill of 460 cars. I have enough problem as it is getting in and out of my dealership on the other side of the hill. I've made recommendations. I've talked to the Department of Highways about lowering that hill, taking that road more towards Martinsburg. Because the problem is they've got the line to the road which blocks 25 Lake Station Drive. With all this traffic that you're to put out there now, it's just going to make it worse for me, to even operate a business. Water retention that you're putting in this warehouse, all this water was going to run off onto the back of Mr. Cunningham and I's property.
It's gotta go to the stormwater management facility. It might look like that on paper, but they can't dump water into your property.
Well, okay, you up there where you did the Mountaineer Gas Company, they put the swell in, all that water's running down the back onto the other property that they own.
I'm not sure.
Mountaineer Gas, which is right across the road from the church or from where this arena used to be. Right across the road from Berkeley Plaza. Mountaineer Gas is putting in a maintenance garage right there, right now. So they put swell in there because of all the water running across the road from the church. That's all to run down through this back of this field, which goes down through the back of our house. Water lays down there. It's like Mr. Cunningham said, we've seen water lay down there 2.5, 3 feet deep. And it'll lay there for 2 or 3 months. And this water's got to go someplace. The trucking company over there, they have no retention ponds put in over there to help drain this water. It's just creating more of a
There
water
are
problem.
lots of retention ponds.
Huh?
There are lots of retention ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like Mr. Cunningham said, we've even seen the fire hydrant over there be covered with water. I mean, I've seen water running through across Mid-Atlantic Parkway in the trucking company. You've got which really don't know how much the water's going to affect, but you've got the pumping station behind Dallas Body Shop there. They're having problems with that, with the sewer backing up. If that sewer backs up, all this water backs up and comes across the road. It's just create a health issue. I mean, something's got to be done with this water problem first. You need to correct that before we worry about taking on something else. That's my concern.
The water problem is downstream. That's the whole water problem in that whole area there. But
Well, I've seen the water behind my house. It's so deep I could take a kayak and go back and ride around.
won't doubt you.
Okay,
That's it, thank you.
we'll let Mr. Gerhardt try to address some of these water issues.
I don't know if you want to close public hearing first. I don't have anyone.
Okay.
If you just want to double check with the people on the phone to see if there's anybody that wants to speak.
Is there anybody on the Zoom that wishes to speak from the public regarding Project Nova?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Gant to close public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing's closed. Now you can go ahead and hopefully address some of these issues.
Sure. I'll start with the traffic. So we are currently processing a traffic impact study for the Department of Highways for this development, looking at all the intersections in the area, as well as the specific entrances. So if there are site distance issues, stacking issues at the intersections, the Department of Highways will not allow us to put the entrances in locations that are going to be a concern and don't meet the requirements. So for conceptual purposes, what you see, we showed the entrances where we believe they can work. They may shift slightly one way or the other based on feedback from the Department of Highway.
Well, they might not even let you put one here.
Yeah, we will follow them. One of the employee parking lot entrances is shown as a right-in, right-out only. Allow anybody coming from the north to turn into the parking lot, as well as exiting. And we're looking at the configuration, whether that right-in, right-out is the southern entrance, northern entrance, all based on feedback we get from the Department of Highway. So hopefully that should at least address the traffic concern, some of the issues there. With regards to stormwater, at the beginning of the project, we certainly recognize this as a challenging area for stormwater and drainage. There is a tremendous amount of off-site water from the other side of exit 16, 81, all the way up to Edwin Miller Boulevard, Berkeley Plaza as referenced, and many of those properties do not have any stormwater management. So as part of our requirements, what we'll do for our project is to not just meet our requirements, but we're also accounting for the cars factor in our area, holding back more of the stormwater from our particular site in an attempt to reduce the flooding impacts from all those other sites. We can't solve the entire problem ourselves, but we can certainly attempt to more than do our part to improve the situation. We'll also work with the Department of Highways for the downstream culverts there at Mid-Atlantic Parkway to try and maintain that we're reducing those overall peak flows by holding back more water on our site than what's going there today. So I am also aware of, I believe the sewer district has recently put out some requests to do a project in this location to address regional stormwater. That's not part of this particular project, but it is at least something that's in the works by the sewer authority using, I believe, the funds that they've collected through some of the grants. Grants and
Grant for surveying?
$2,000.
Yeah. I can go down there and fix that cheap.
We have recently completed infiltration testing on site in an attempt to try and infiltrate as much of our stormwater as we can on site. Once again, further reduce how much is leaving our site and allow it to go into the ground. Part of our requirement is to allow that stormwater to infiltrate within 48 hours. We won't have that standing water for weeks and months, and that may exist today. and our site will make sure that anything that we're touching has positive drainage that will discharge. Once again, off-site areas adjacent to our property, there's not much we can do for that, other than do as much as we can on our site.
I mean, just speaking from my experience, because I've built a lot of this stuff, typically your downstream sites, if the storm facility is built correctly, it actually improves downstream flow. I mean, when you get these 100-year storms, I mean, everybody's flooding anyhow, but on the average storm, 25-year storm, I mean, it actually improves downstream properties, in my experience.
I think that's sort of what we're planning to do to address those concerns. We were aware of that as soon as we started the project, having worked here for so many years, that we know that's a problem there, and we're doing everything that we can.
Anything else you want to address?
Hopefully, I have to answer any other questions.
Planning Commission members, do you have more questions of Mr. Gerhart or of the staff?
If there are no further questions, I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and advance the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation and advance the project to the preliminary plan stage. And I will tell you gentlemen in the back that are leaving, the preliminary plan will be more detailed and will address some of the issues that you raised this evening. This is just a sketch, and it's difficult to answer all your questions at the sketch plat stage. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
The next public hearing is 711 Maidenbush.
Request for sketch plan advancement, project 711 Maidenbush, file 2011-322, tied to 2010-278. The developer is Creighton Commercial Development. The engineer is Kimley Horn and Associates. Opequon District, map 6, parcels 34.1, 34.4, and 37. The site is an existing 7-Eleven convenience store located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Winchester Avenue, US Route 11, and Maidenbush Lane. The project proposes the redevelopment of the existing 7-Eleven convenience store. The developer proposed demolishing the existing building and replacing it with a 4,650 square foot convenience store, 8 pump fueling station, 3 pump high-speed diesel canopy, and an automatic car wash to be served by public water and sewer. At the November 16th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting, the developer was granted a waiver, Table 5, Section 503, Table 5-2, requiring setbacks for non-residential property. On November 30th, 2020, the county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, deemed the above-mentioned project complete and found it compliant with the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Thank you. Do you have anyone to represent the project?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeremy Yee with Kim Hong. Yeah, I'm here to answer any question you might have.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Please come forward with your questions or comments.
There's nobody here, I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith, to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the gentleman on the Zoom? I believe he's representing Kimley Horn.
Jeremy Yee. Jeremy.
Jeremy?
There are no questions. I'll make a motion. We accept staff recommendation and advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan stage.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith, to advance the project from the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Martinsburg Church of Christ.
Request for sketch plan advancement, project Martinsburg Church of Christ expansion, file 2010-283. The developer is Deacon David Marth. The engineer is Greenway Engineering. Arden District, map 2, parcel 5.1. The property is located at 9512 Tuscarora Pike in Martinsburg, West Virginia. The project proposes the expansion of an existing commercial lot on 5 acres to be served by public water and sewer. There have been no waivers requested for the project. This project is also located within the Tuscarora zone. No waivers or variances to the Tuscarora zoning ordinance have been requested. The county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter of completion on December 2nd, 2020, and stated that the sketch plan meets the requirements to advance to the preliminary plan stage. The sketch plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and the Tuscarora zoning ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Well, I'm going to be recusing myself for this project.
Okay.
Conflict of interest.
Let the record show that Mr. Smith is recusing for conflict of interest. This is a public hearing for Martinsburg Church of Christ expansion. Do we have anybody on Zoom that wishes to speak, or anyone in the public that wishes to speak regarding the project?
We do have representatives here.
Okay.
There's nobody here to speak. I'll make a motion.
Wait.
These-
Representative.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Mark McDonald.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, doesn't appear that we have anyone to speak against the project, so I'll take a motion by Mr. Gant to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whitaker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. McDonald or the staff?
If there are none, I'll make the motion. We accept staff recommendation and advance the sketch plan to preliminary plan stage.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Whitaker, to advance the project to the preliminary plan stage. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. I do have a question of the staff. Since this is in the Tuscarora zoning district, did the Board of Appeals or the Tuscarora
City.
zoning ordinance?
They didn't need to meet because it was reviewed against the ordinance and they're in compliance with everything.
Okay.
So it would only be if they were appealing something.
Okay.
But we are seeing more activity there, so,
More activity what?
on
Okay.
other sites.
So, that's not the Arden District. They're gonna check that. Might have them reversed.
Okay,
Just a question mark.
could we get Mr. Smith back, please?
There.
Good on.
Okay, we're finished with our public hearings. We'll do now the preliminary final plat approvals, and the first item is Cordell Lot 3A.
I'm sorry. Preliminary final plat approval. The project is Cordell Lot 3A. The file is 2011-331, tied to 2008-140. The developer is Brandon Cordell. The surveyor is Greg Yabernetsky. Arden District, map 4, parcel 2.16. The property is located approximately 0.45 miles north on Route 902 over 78 Divine Drive. This project proposes the creation of one 5.27 acre parcel and one 6.03 acre parcel to be served by private well and septic. At the September 8, 2020 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to approve a waiver to Section 305.4.1, requiring lots to have frontage on a West Virginia DOH maintained road to proceed through the preliminary final process. On November 24, 2020, County Engineer Dirk Stansberry deemed the project complete and compliant with the 2009 Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance. The project is found to be complete in compliance with the 2009 Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance, and therefore staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, Greg Yabernetsky here on Zoom.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Yabernetsky or the staff?
No, I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and approve the preliminary final.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith to accept staff recommendation and approve the preliminary final plat for Cordell Lot 3A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next item is Bridal Creek.
Thank you.
Nope. Reiner. One more there.
Huh?
One more. You got 2 sheets.
Ah, I do.
Request for preliminary final plat approval. The project is Reiner. The file is 2011-335. The developer is Kyle R. Reiner. The surveyor is Gregory Yabernetsky. Jarrettstown District, map 32, parcel 3.2. This project is located 1.2 miles north on Route 24 and Horner Sawmill Road from intersection with Route 51 at McGuire Lane. The project proposes the creation of one 2.63 acre parcel with a 2.49 acre residue parcel served by well and septic. The county engineer Dirk Stansberry issued approval on November 24, 2020, stating a review of the above-mentioned project had been completed and was found to be in compliance with the subdivision ordinance. The project is found to be complete in compliance with the 2009 Berkeley County Subdivision Regulations, and therefore staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Greg Yabernetsky, I'm still here.
Okay, thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Yabernetsky or the staff?
If there are no questions, I'll make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and approve the preliminary final plat.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith to accept staff recommendation and to approve the preliminary final plat for Reiner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a happy holiday. The next item
Thank you.
is Bridal Creek Phase 5.
Yes, preliminary plan approval. Project Bridal Creek Phase 5, Section 2, lots 305 through 348 and 393 through 406. The file number is 2008-186, tied to 021-13. The developer is Panhandle Homes. The engineer is Fox and Associates Incorporated. That's Opequon District, map 10, parcel 20.1. The site is located along the north side of West Virginia Route 45/5 Eagle School Road, approximately 1.5 miles northeast of its intersection with West Virginia Route 9 in the Opequon Tax District. The overall project is proposing 58 townhome lots on approximately 5.79 acres. No waivers or exceptions have been requested. On November 2nd, 2020, County Engineer Dirk Stansberry deemed the project complete and compliant with the 2009 Berkeley County subdivision ordinance, therefore recommending preliminary plan approval. The preliminary plan meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, therefore staff recommends preliminary plan approval.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Steve Stianovich with Fox and Associates representing the applicant.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Stianovich or the staff?
All right, I'll make a motion, we, accept the staff recommendation and approve the preliminary plan.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Whitaker, to accept staff recommendation and to approve the preliminary plan for Bridle Creek Phase 5. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Next item, going into our final plat determinations, Cardinal Point.
Yes, request for final plat determination. The project is Cardinal Point, Section 1, Phase 4, lots 358 through 371 and 396 through 407. The file is 2011-338, tied to 048-18. The developer is Panhandle Homes. The engineer is Fox and Associates. Falling Waters District, map 9, parcel 11.6. The property is located along the north side of Hammonds Mill Road, west of St. Andrews Drive. This phase proposes 26 single-family villa-style lots on approximately 15.2 acres to be served by public water and sewer. At the November 5th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to grant a waiver to allow 3 on-site parking spaces instead of 2 on-site and 1 off-site. At the September 16th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to grant a waiver to Section 502.1 of the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance relating to the requirement of 2 points of access onto a public road or a West Virginia DOH right-of-way for a development of 100 lots or greater. The approval is contingent on having bonding of Serena Drive encumbered by the authorized access road, no reduction and or release of the surety on Serena Drive until the temporary serviceable road is built. On December 9th, 2020, County Engineer Dirk Stansberry found the project to be in compliance with the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009. The final plat meets the requirements of the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009. Therefore, staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the January 19th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting.
We'll correct that, 2021.
I will correct that. I stand corrected, 2021.
Okay. Have anyone to represent the project?
Steve Stianovich with Fox and Associates representing the applicant.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Stianovich?
No questions, just a statement. I just don't want to go back through 2020 again.
Nobody wants to. Now have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion, we accept staff recommendation and final plat determination, advertising public hearing for consideration on January 19th, 2021, Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Motion by I have a motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Whitaker, to accept staff recommendation and consider the final plat approval at a public hearing on January 19, 2021. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Morning Dove 2.
Yes, request for final plat determination. The project is Morning Dove 2, Phase 4, lots 158 through 171, 202 through 206, 220 through 230, and open space E and F. The file is 2009-242. tied to 044-16. The developer is DR Acquisitions LLC. The engineer is Gordon. It's Mill Creek District, map 14, parcel 88. The project is located south of Giles Mill Road and Gray Drive, intersection 1.5 miles east of the Giles Mill Road Route 11 intersection in the Mill Creek Tax District. The final plat proposes the development of 30 single-family lots on 27.9 acres to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested for this phase. On December 14, 2020, the county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter of completion and found the project to be in compliance with the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the January 19, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Jason Gerhardt, report.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Gerhardt or his staff?
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendation. Final plat determination advertising for public hearing for consideration of the final plat on January 19th, 2021. Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith to accept staff recommendation and approve and consideration of the final plat approval for January 19, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next item is Stony Ridge.
Yes, request for final plat determination. The project is Stony Ridge, Section 2, Phase 2F, lots 116 through 120, and lots 134 through 138. The file number is 2011-323. The developer is Stony Ridge LLC. The surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. Mill Creek District, map 5, parcel 44. This project is located a half a mile west of the intersection of West Virginia Route 51 and Interstate 81. The project proposes the creation of 10 residential lots to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested for this phase. County engineer Dirk Stansberry issued a letter on December 14, 2020, stating that a review of the above-mentioned project was completed and found to be in compliance with the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the January 19, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, Mike Roberts, representing project.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Roberts or the staff?
I'll make the motion to accept staff recommendation and advance for final plat determination advertising for public hearing on January 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Whitaker. How's that? Is that okay with you? To approve, to consider the final plat approval at a public hearing on January 19, 2021. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passed.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Cardinal Point, Phase 1.
Yes. Yes, request for final plat determination. The project is Cardinal Point, Section 1, Phase 5, lots 10 through 42, 65 through 70, 95 through 97, 166 through 177, 182 through 185, 272, and 304 through 308. The file number is 2011-352, tied to 048-18. The developer is Panhandle Homes. The engineer is Fox and Associates. Falling Waters District Map 9, Parcel 11.6. The property is located along the north side of Hammonds Mill Road, west of St. Andrews Drive. This phase proposes 65 single-family lots on approximately 22.2 acres to be served by public water and sewer. At the November 5th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to grant a waiver to allow 3 on-site parking spaces instead of 2 on-site and 1 off-site. At the September 16, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to grant a waiver to Section 502.1 of the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance relating to the requirement of 2 points of access onto a public road or a West Virginia DOH right-of-way for a development of 100 lots or greater. The approval is contingent on having bonding of Serena Drive encumbered by the authorized access road, no reduction and or release of the surety on Serena Drive until the temporary serviceable road is built. On December 15, 2020, County Engineer Dirk Stansberry found the project to be in compliance with the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009. The final plat meets the requirements of the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance 2009. Therefore, staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the January 19th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Steve Sianovich with Fox and Associates, representing the applicant.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have any questions regarding the project?
I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendation. Final plat determination, advertising, public hearing for January 19th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith, to accept staff recommendation and to advertise for public hearing for consideration of the final plat January 19, 2021. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Butler's Bridge, sorry.
Yes, request for final plat determination. The project is Butler's Bridge Phase 3, lots 86 and lots 90 through 95. The file number is 2011-323. The developer is Butler's Bridge Land, LLC. The engineer is Gordon. It's in the Hedgesville District, map 37, parcel 27. This project is located from intersection of Dry Run Road and Ridge Road South, north 0.13 miles on Ridge Road to Skipper's Canyon Drive, west 0.15 miles on Skipper's Canyon Drive. The project proposes the creation of 7 residential lots to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested for this phase. The county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter on December 15, 2020, stating that a review of the above-mentioned project was completed and found to be in compliance with the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the January 19, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent the project?
Yes, good evening. Clark Botner with Butler's Bridge Land LLC.
Thank you. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of the applicant or of the staff?
There are no questions from the staff. I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendation. Final plat determination, advertising, public hearing for final plat approval on January 19, 2021.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gantz, second by Mr. Smith, to accept staff recommendation and to consider the final plat approval at a January 19, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. And that would be a public hearing. No.
Yes.
Yeah, public hearing. Yeah. words. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our 2020 Planning Commission meeting, other than Ms. Williams.
Yes, just to elaborate on your question earlier regarding the Tuscarora zoning district, while Martinsburg versus Christ met all of the requirements, there are some parcels that are currently under review and evaluation for proposed development that will be requiring a Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay.
So we have been working with Anthony and looking through lists of
Potential.
potential people, and the requirements are very specific. They have to be a resident in the area that is part of the zoning ordinance, and they cannot currently sit on any of the other appointed boards. So it's that combination of things that we're struggling with finding. So
It's always been a struggle.
With the windy wall.
but this one's Tuscarora, but between Tuscarora and Windowac, we still need to activate the airport ordinance group as well. So working with Anthony to figure out the best way to get that board established and meeting scheduled and ready for these other projects.
How many people do you need for the board?
Five.
I believe 5.
These
Three for a forum.
I don't know, a few people out that area, I don't know if they'd be interested or not.
Well, the primary thing is that if we need people from those areas to voice their preferences on what changes might be occurring in those areas.
So I know some people in that area, but I don't know what their interest would be.
Give them a hard sell.
Tell them the pay's real good.
Do my best. Do my best.
Tell them there's a skyrise mine on the property next to them.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, and we have in our packet,
Congratulations.
a certificate of completion for Heather for the, floodplain insurance program. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you have that you want to talk about tonight? How about legal counsel?
I just wanted to, I introduced most of you to Jeff Bosey. He's the other attorney here. He'll be coming to some of these meetings. We'll split
Duties.
split the enjoyment among
Well, you got a good breaking in
We've got-
tonight.
What was your name?
Jeff Bosey. Came up from Fayette County.
Okay. Jeff, thank you for coming.
Cell
Thank you for
phone
coming.
numbers.
I'd like to
Call him
wish,
anytime of day.
That's why I said
He's on call.
I'd like to wish all of you a happy holiday, and our next planning commission meeting will be January 4, 2021,
Next year.
next year. Thank you. Drive safe, keep safe.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Peace.
holidays, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Okay,
We need a motion.
And I move to adjourn.
okay, a
That's the one we were
motion
looking
by
for.
Mr.
Goff.
Goff, second by Mr. Gant, to adjourn at 7:44. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can stay.
Motion is passed.